What's going on, guys? Bladezilla here, and today we're taking a look at this real fancy, real special edition Shirogorov 111 Terrace as part of, one can presume, an elemental series of knives in the 111. If you guys remember, I did a video on each of these last year. I believe it was the F3NS, and you know, we see a lot of similarities with this knife. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at. It's fairly late for me right now, so I'm a little tired, a little cranky, but you know, nothing coffee can't fix. So as a reminder, guys, check out my website, bladezilla.ca, where a lot of the knives featured on this YouTube channel are available in Canada, ready to ship. Just added this beautiful Shirogorov Quantum with this, I think they call it curly birch inlay. Oh, it's curly birch right there. A bunch of Mordaxes, some TR3 Integrities. I still have, I think, one, maybe two of those Halloween Hatties left, so or F95s. Lots of good stuff, but more than anything, go visit the site, bladezilla.ca. Nice little shout out there. I figured, you know, it's always easier making your own ads than paying YouTube to run ads for yourself. So there you go. But that's not what we're here for today. We're here to take a look at this gorgeous 111 from Shirogorov. And, oh, I might even need to zoom the camera out now that I'm looking at this on my little screen here. Oh, it just fits. That's what she said. And, oh, look at this beast. Absolute beast of a knife. Gorgeous. So, sit back, relax. I am going to zoom it out just a smidge to fit this guy. Sit back, relax, have a cup of coffee, have a whiskey, a beer, a glass of water, whatever you want while we enjoy this gorgeous knife tonight, or I guess this morning when you're watching this. So what is this guy? Well, let's start off with some assumptions here. I'm assuming that this 111 is part of the Element series. I don't know if they formally announced that, but one can presume, and I'm assuming they will, that there are going to be more variants of this because it's a Terrace, which is Earth, and just like last year, what did we have? The Terrace, we had fire, wind, and water. So, don't know if the steels are going to be the same, you know, Vanix. I think one was LMAX, and one was M390, I think. And then this guy is S90V, which is written on the blade here. Pretty cool. Obviously got that gorgeous Technocarbo inlays with, you know, the beauty of this material is it changes in all the different lighting conditions. And as you move this guy around and take a peek at it, it just becomes a completely different knife at so many different angles, you know. As far as I know, this is a full production 111 current model. And if we look at the, you know, the cuts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe everything on this is current. With a nice, beautiful cutout on that blade. Oh, there's a lot to talk about today. I don't even know where to begin, but geez, I guess let's start with some measurements, and we'll get some weights on it to see how different that is in the real world versus whatever is published online. I recall these guys were over 5 ounces, and now there's a nice, big, thick, heavy-duty bead on the back, so it might be a little more. So we'll get some measurements on this and some weight. So coming in measurement-wise, we're coming in at 9 and 7/8 inches overall length. Blade length of 111 millimeters, obviously, or about 4 1/4 to the sharpened, 4 3/8 somewhere to the choil, somewhere in that conversation. Handle-wise, 5 3/8. So it's a sword. It's a massive beast of a knife, and we're going to do some comparisons, as we always do. But first and foremost, I do want to get a weight on this, just to kind of see how it stacks up. And I don't know, did I do a video on, I did a 111, and we had some purple 111s come in the last few weeks, which is kind of interesting timing. But that was an S90V purple, which tells me they may have had some extra materials. So what do we got, 5.3? 5.3 ounces. So what did I say, 5 and change? Somewhere around there. So good weight. I don't know what it's published at. I don't have that in front of me. But given that it's 4 and quarter plus 4 3/8 blade length, 5-ounce knife really is not far off the rule. Ounces to inches rule. So if it's a 4-inch blade, you want it to weigh 4 ounces, 3.5, 3.5, etc. Let's take a look at this comparison wise. We're going to put this at the very bottom of the screen. We're going to walk down some steps. So we'll grab my trusty Quantum, which is Shiro's normal size knife. It's large, right? It's almost 4-inch blade, I think, 95 mil. We've got, because I keep not going into my wife's glove box in her car and taking my Stellar out, we're going to use the Cami, whatever you want to call it, as the medium size. And then my beautiful baby Neon, modified Neon Zero. There is your Shirogorov. Essentially, there are 4 sizes. And there are some models kind of, tiptoeing around some of these sizes. But for the most part, you're seeing, the main 2. I mean 3 would basically be your Quantum, what would be a Stellar, and then their Neons. And the 111 is just a whole different ball game. It's a big, big knife, but honestly, in hand and in pocket, it's not as much bigger than, say, an F95. In reality, it's kind of funny how some people, I know guys carrying 111s all the time, no big deal, as a work knife, because it's a big, big bruiser. So I've got an extra large hand glove size, and if I wanted to have 2 more fingers, I could easily fit them on there with gloves. It's just a big bruiser of a knife. I believe most of the reviews just call it a pocket sword, which is pretty cool. But the main thing here from a production knife is, same handle material, as far as I know, same design, just different kind of material-wise in terms of the look of it. So typically they're black carbon, but in this case we're getting some kind of really cool techno-carbon inlays. Looks real nice. Real nice. Even down the handle here, all that shaping is just gorgeous. And even the milling work on the carbon is just gorgeous. All the way around. It's a beautiful knife. You get a color matched backspacer to the clip as well. Kind of like a dark bronze ano, which matches the bead, which matches that backspacer. All the way around, you're kind of getting that whole package look, which is just gorgeous. Underneath and inside, let's take a look. We have, where's my little light here? This is the beauty of the non-formal video, is I can fumble around trying to find stuff. So no milling on the inside of that carbon, which is pretty rare for Shiro to touch the inside of carbon, with a few exceptions once again. And then on the Lockbar side, obviously there's some milling on there. This would be a gorgeous knife to take apart and take a look at. There's going to be a lot of little Easter eggs inside here. If you did want to take it apart, you would need the tool to do so, which you can see here. You've kind of got 2 sizes. There's actually about 4 or 5 different bit sizes, but you got a couple different sizes on this one. Could you use a screwdriver? Yes. I would not suggest it, especially on a knife like this that is collectible. There's only going to be 100 worldwide, is my understanding of these. And those will get right away cut into different markets. So North America will not have 100. So they're going to be less common. And the sexy factor of S90V on a 111 blade for essentially $100 more than retail, and you get, $100 bead on top of that. There's going to be people buying this knife just for this bead. And if I can get this to focus, you know what? Let's put the blade away and show the bead without cutting myself, because that's going to be the main thing. How can I show this without rubbing things all over my knife here? There we go. So there's that bead. Terrace is earth. So I guess that's their idea of an earth colored bead, right? The titanium, bronze color, and then there's some patterning on there, which looks good. So for example, we had the wind bead last time. Had some wind kind of wavy marks, and the water had some water marks, and the fire was kind of flamey. And this one is kind of, I guess, earthy, whatever that means. Kind of cool. It is a big bead. That's their largest bead, I believe, as well. So that is a big beast comparatively to the knife. Just food for thought in that there's a lot of value here. And, you know, the rare handle and the S90V blade, which I don't know if I did a video on that S90V purple 111 that I recently had. And when I saw a batch of those come through, my first thought was they're doing something with the 111, because they wouldn't just put S90V on a very small number or a small run of knives unless they bought a big batch of it and were just running out some extra stock that they had. And as soon as I saw that S90V blade, I was like, yep, there's probably more of these coming in some capacity. And lo and behold, maybe it was a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that, you know, boom, the Terraces roll out. And you just go, it all makes sense. So, love that stuff. On the flip side here, though, as I said, you know, that beautiful color-matched clip, which is super usable. It's kind of got that nice pinch on the tip here, and then like a little bend in here. I've always done this and said, oh, it's a B for Bladezilla, obviously, but it's totally not, and it never will be. You've got the blanks on this side as well of the hardware, which just looks really nice. It's just a real sleek looking medieval pocket sword. And then let's take a look at the actual tops. So of the jimping on the blade and backspacer are very similar as well, which is, you know, they're starting to do that a lot with a few exceptions. But it is definitely matched very nicely. And then the one thing on the 111 is we've got a really long backspacer on this, and it's very different than some of the other designs. It's almost the entire length of this knife, backspacer. So I've always loved seeing that, and it's certainly different. And you know, it just means less dust and lint from your pocket get inside. But assuming there's dust and lint in your pocket, you know, it's got to go somewhere. So I like that backspacer. It looks solid. Fit in hand, good jimping, smooth, not too notched. The blade is flat on top and then tapers towards, kind of pinches in the middle, and expands back out to add some strength and stability to that tip, which looks good. As I said earlier, you've got S90V written on the blade, which makes sense. You've got that nice cutout as well, and I have seen a lot of people kind of flick that with their thumb. I've seen people reverse flick these 111s. Considering right now I'm wrapped around a tripod, I'm in no position to even attempt this on the best of days, let alone when I am wrapped around a tripod. But I have seen it done, and I actually saw a really cool video recently of a guy in the Shirogorov, one of the Shiro groups. He had the coveted full custom MIDI, M-I-D-I, Quantum, and he was reverse flicking that knife, and I, you know, had to turn the AC on, if you know what I mean. It's a hot looking knife. So anytime you get that cut out, it's just, you know, gives you more options other than just flicking the knife with the flipper tab, which, by the way, is forward of center. And, you know, I always make this reference, you know, the further you have that flipper tab ahead, typically in Shiro's world, I find that the more forward it is, the thicker the blade stock or the longer the blade. And in this case, it's fairly thin, thinner than the old version 5. But, you know, it definitely rockets out. No issues, nice and smooth, running on those gorgeous multi-row roller bearings, which I think on this one they write it on the, I was going to say here, but I think it's actually on the tab under here. Yeah, there you go, MRBS. Right there. Bloop. Multi-row bearing system. And this is always a really cool spot I like to photograph for Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. Just because I love the notching and the stepping on this, on the liner. Just looks so good. It's just such a cool spot. You've got cutouts, and let's just say, take a look here as well. So from the side profile, guys, I always like to show how the lock bar is actually raised compared to the other side, so it sticks up. And the best way to show that is with my Hattie, because it's right beside me. But see how on the Hattie, see how when I roll this guy, you can see right there, the frame lock, it sticks up. And on the F95 and on the Quantum, all those models, it's just, you find the lock so much easier. So I'm always really appreciative of that. And on the 111, God, that Hattie feels so tiny now. And on the 111 is no different. It is in fact raised, not as beveled, but it is raised. Certainly very easy to get in there and access that lock. Always cool. And as well, you can see a lot of milling on the carbon. Looks gorgeous. I always have wondered though, what the heck is that for? If someone in the Shiro world could tell me, I've wondered this for, geez, a year and plus. Why do they put that cutting or that jimping on the external side of the knife? At first I was like, oh, maybe it's for grip so that you can kind of front flick it or do something like that. And I go, no, that's just there for, it's got to be decoration. I have no clue what that's for. It does stick out, so if you do drop it, you're going to hit the metal versus the carbon. But then again, if you drop it up here, you're still hitting the carbon. So I have no clue what that's for. If someone knows, please let me know. Otherwise, it's just a gorgeous, pretty standard 111 Gen 5 1 all the way around. Great milling, excellent material choices, just the super collectible and rare Terrace bead, the color matched back spacer and clip, which are all different than standard production models. And then on top of that, for $100 more, hey, S90V blade, which is, you know, as far as I know, it is Sergey's favorite blade steel to work with. And as I roll this around here, I just want to show you, the milling is almost like fingerprint pattern, how tight everything is. And how it all changes. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you're watching in 4K. I'm filming this in 4K, as far as I know. And, oh, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous knife. As I roll that light around and show you all the different layers, it's really difficult to show on camera. But when you get one in hand and you go outside and stand in the sunlight and you roll it like this, or you just look at it, and it almost glistens and sparkles. So I'm really hoping you guys can see that, and it at least pops in camera a little bit better than my poor skill on trying to show this stuff. And then, you know, as I said, you still have the drilling work on those 5 little bloop bloop bloops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technical term. Bloop bloop bloops. Always looks cool. Obviously symmetrical on the other side. Looks great. Otherwise, you know, my question is this. How are they going to do value-wise over the coming, say, years? You know, anything that Shirogorov has done, typically, in the limited or special edition category, these are the special editions, they've always held their value, even aftermarket. They've usually appreciated. They're limited in numbers, they're not readily available, and then right away, right off the hop, North America versus the rest of the world is not getting a full batch of them. So I can only assume they're going to appreciate, but, you know, S90V is definitely a really, really good seller for Shiro, but 111 hasn't been a knife they've really pushed super hard. So my question would be, well, the F3NS, I'd say the heavy hit winner of that series was the water. So it was blue, it had a Van X blade, which is ultra sexy, and obviously it's an F3, so it's an everyday size knife. Whereas this, you know, if they even, let's just say they match all 4 knives and do, you know, a Van X version of this with blue handle. Will it be the best seller of the series? I don't know. But in terms of this, you know, black and gold with an S90V blade with a color match tie and clip and a limited bead, to me, that's a highly, highly valued winning combination. Now, the fact that it's on a 111, which, you know, I'll admit, the 111 is not for everybody. Both from a legal standpoint, it's not going to fly in certain households, in certain states. In Canada, we're pretty well covered on this size, definitely. But in the U.S. and some other markets, I believe, you know, they all have different rules and regulations around blade length. So I'm kind of curious to see the adoption of the 111s, to see how popular they are truly going to be. I will say this, if you're looking to buy a 111, regardless of it being a limited edition, the fact that it's S90V, take everything else and put it to the side, it's a winner. The fact that it comes with all those other extras is going to really differentiate it from all the other production 111s that they've made over the years. You know, and it's like, just look at the tolerances of that blade too, eh? For a production knife, it doesn't get any better than that. Isn't that ridiculous? Look how tight that is on a blade that's 4 3/8 of an inch. That's as tight as you're gonna get on a production knife. That tells me that blade that's hand done, hand ground. The only, as far as I know, the only machine ground blade Shiro does is found in the Ursus line. But these are going to be hot. They're going to be, I think, highly desirable, because they're at that sweet spot for a lot of people where, you know, custom division knife is 3 times the price, typically. And yeah, they're rare. There's 50. Well, now the CDX, there's apparently going to be 100 of those. And don't know moving forward if we're going to be seeing the CD lines always going to be 100. That's to be determined, I guess. Or if they go back to 50s. Or stay at 50, I should say. But, you know, if there's only 100 of these and they're selling at production price points, and I believe they're lottery knives too. Actually, are they lottery, or are they going to be first come? No, these are first come, first serve. That's right. Just like the last 4 launches, they've all been first come, first serve. So likely, you know, within a day of launch, they're all going to be gone. I've got a couple here that I'm going to throw up on the site. But allocation-wise, there's not a lot of these. You know, you always ask for more, and you can only get so many, because there's only so many to go around. So, you know, would I love to have 10 of these? Yeah. Do I? Absolutely not. Because they're pretty cool. And once again, going back to, you know, some of the limited edition versions, like you look at my own personal collection and you go, well, my Neon Zero is a cool Walter Randolph modified Neon Zero. You know, my Hattie is a CCKS. I've shown this multiple times, but it's like, I like black and gold. There's my black and gold Hattie, you know. Why is it different than a production one? Well, it's got a cool backspacer. And I believe S90V. Weird, eh? I'm not just talking out of my yin-yang. I'm actually saying by fact and opinion, and showing you that I've put my own money on these colors. You know, black and gold, carbon, S90V. There it is in my own collection. So it's so funny how this works sometimes. You know, they make these color combinations for a reason, and I feel like black and gold, that's where it's at. This is going to be a tough one to pass on. I just wish there's more of them. The only, I guess, negative that I can find is, you know, on the 111s, they still have the Shiro bear on the blade, and I wish if I were to gently coax them into adjusting that, I would love to see that bear end up on the handle. Right here. That's where I'd like it, which they did on the Astrum, which is another knife I can't get enough of, because that is a gorgeous design. Everyone thinks the 111 is the same size as an Astrum. They're not even close. The Astrum is basically like a big Neon, a liner lock version of a Neon. That's got a, you know, larger than normal blade, but totally different knives. So super cool. Love multi-roll bearings. The action is ridiculous. Oh god, that's so good. Oh. Gorgeous knife. I think these are going to be really popular. What else do I have for you guys? Comparison wise, I'm not going to go into too much on that. Special edition wise, 100, I talked about that. I talked about the blade, steel, talked about the backspacer. I wish they did a holloway. I wish they skeletonized that flipper. That'd be pretty cool, but more of a dainty kind of, that's more of a CD level knife. If they skeletonized that, that'd be so cool. Otherwise, it's a winner, man. These are going to be hot. So get them while you can. Even the bead itself, there's going to be people looking for that bead because it's so unique and not common. So get them while you can. I think they're going to make a lot of people happy. Alright guys, I'm going to leave you there. Thanks for stopping by. Check out the site, bladezilla.ca. Follow me on Instagram. Throw a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to me on YouTube. That always helps. TikTok is kind of basically a mirror image of my Instagram for videos. And then I just started a Facebook page. So follow Bladezilla. I'm thinking about throwing a promo code up on there just to kind of pump that up, which would probably apply to everything in the store. I haven't decided, but I will, you know, if I get enough people on there, I'm going to throw a code up on there for a day or two or a week or whatever, just to kind of thank those loyal people for following me on Facebook. So do that right now. Just go there, Bladezilla, find me, throw a like. Alright guys, have a great week, and thanks for watching this video, and appreciate you guys all the time. Alright? Peace.